I wrote this little book. It's 40 pages, but don't worry, most of it is photographs. Yeah. But the reason I've written this book is because when I entered the corporate sector, I learned something. I learned that a degree, a qualification, a certificate, honestly, you need that to get in. But after that is when your career begins, not before. I learned that I was sometimes on a floor with 300 or 400 people with the world's best CVs, who came from the world's best universities. And I was among them. As you can see, it's 10 mistakes that you make when you enter the corporate world. So the idea actually was to get you to read that before you came to the speech, so that at the speech I could tell you how not to make those mistakes. But don't you worry, I'm going to share 3 of those with you today in the interest of time. And then you can go back and you can read the mistakes and then read all 10 on how not to make those mistakes when you get into the corporate world, banking, whatever. Now when we enter these big corporates, we are bound to fail. We are bound to make errors. We are bound to make mistakes. We are new. The reason I show you this picture, I'm going to tell you all a very short story about one of the most fatal mistakes of my career. You will see many of these people right now, even all on LinkedIn. If you go onto my LinkedIn, you'll see all. Now, there I am. And I'm going to tell you the story about me and a guy at the back. There he is, Michael. We were working for transaction banking. We were in the south of France. As you can see, the Intercontinental Carlton is at the back. And we were all there at a major conference. But the story I'm going to tell you is about Michael and myself. We used to work late every night. That's just how it is. But one night, it was bonus time. February. And we were working on the bonuses for the whole department. Having a sandwich, working on our figures, and we were quite awake because we were used to it. But what happened was that because of overtiredness and exhaustion, our boss, Danny, said to us, okay, now you've finished the whole department, just work on the management team. 10 people only. And these are the top people in transaction banking. This spreadsheet was equivalent to a state secret. It was so highly confidential because it was their bonus numbers. And I sent it back to Michael, and he sent it back to me, and I made revisions, and he made revisions. And this carried on. And then Danny said, okay, now that's fine. Send it to me, and both you guys, it's 11 o'clock. Please go home. Okay, Danny, thanks. And accidentally, because you have all these groups set up in Outlook, you know, the groups with the management team, the groups with the CEO, the groups to groups, Michael was overtired, and he pressed the button, and it went out to all the 10 people. That is what happened. You know, I could never forget that night because we almost died in fear. We almost died because when he realized that this is what I have done, we were just looking. I think we stared at that screen for a good 15 minutes and without speaking because we were so terrified as to what had happened. And no one was in the bank to recall the email. Everyone had gone home. And we didn't know what to do. So he just burst out crying, and I said, listen, the only thing we can do is to tell Danny. He said, Children, you do not understand how fatal this is. We will have mass resignations. This has never happened. I said, but we have been working non-stop for weeks on end. This is what can happen. So we called Danny. And he picked up the phone, and I just said to him, something very serious has happened. He said, tell me, what have you all done? I said, the bonus spreadsheet has been sent out. He said, that's good. I said, no, not to you, to all the management team. And he was like, oh, mamma mia, because, he's Swiss German, talks like that. So I was like, oh my God. And then he said, oh my God, and is IT not there? I said, no one's there. He jumped in his car and raced to the bank because he just wanted to see that himself. And he said, there's nothing we can do till the morning. Can we call IT to erase their mailboxes or whatever? Nothing could be done. But you tell me something. What do you think when you do something like that? Do you worry about what people will think of you? If you make such a fatal mistake, even in your own personal lives, of course your reputations are everything. But if there was one lesson I learned that we actually grow and we get better and we get stronger by admitting our mistakes. And we could have gone home that night and we could have both said, we do not know how it happened. There could have been a problem on the server. Somebody must have hacked our computers. We could have said, I don't know how many things. But we didn't. We told the truth. And the second thing I want to tell you is, I know you've all seen this quote about Michael Jordan, but my advice to you is, do we actually, when we make such mistakes, do we see them as mistakes and, oh my God, I'm never ever going to make it, I'm going to give up? Or do we see it as lessons? And you know what? Never mind if this happened. I'll do it and I'll try again and try again and try again. But in the corporate world, that is what they are looking for. They are not looking for you to be perfect. They are looking to find this person who will stand up and say, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. And the third thing I want to ask you is, if you do make a mistake and you do something terrible and something terrible happens in your life, do you have the resilience to change direction? To take another call, to try it again? Because that's exactly what we have to do in corporate life. All of these brands that you see, and if any of you, I'm sure you'll have watched the BBC, but if any of you would Google the Museum of Failure, you will see some of the biggest brands have been put in there. But the message that you have to take away from there is that the biggest brands have failed, but they've changed course, tried again and come back. Changed course, tried again and come back. So never giving up. And I know many girls in the bank who've made fatal mistakes, just resigned and left. Because they were too scared to face anybody.